Today we're working on Bourree, the last piece in Suzuki Book 3. Welcome back. Welcome to the studio. My name is Cassie. I'm a professional violist and teaching artist. So today we're going to do a quick tutorial on some of the new things in the Bourree, then we'll do a slow playthrough and a fast playthrough. The first measure I want to work on is measure 2. We've got a trill and a chord. So we're going to work on the chord first. Let's go to playing position. And to do this chord, I'm going to have my second finger already set because we're starting our trill from the note above. And I'm going to play 2 notes, so my open D and G. And I'm going to drop my bow elbow to the D and A string. Let's try that again. We're setting on the D and G. Drop your elbow. Now we're going to try that without a stop in the middle. So in essence, your bow elbow is tracing half of a frowny face. So it should feel like your elbow is just gradually dropping to the A string. We don't want it to be feeling angular because that creates a false accent. So again, it's just a gradual drop. Similarly, we have a chord in measure 4, and it's the same idea. It's 2 open strings, so our open C and G, and then our open G and our second finger on the D string. And it's the same idea here. We're going to start with an angular break, and then we're going to round that off. If you're having trouble getting that chord to sound, there's a couple things that could be happening. You could be pressing into the string a little bit too hard. It's a really common mistake that students make to push harder when they see that there's more notes that need to sound at the same time. It's actually, you don't need any more arm weight. It should be about the same arm weight. It's just evenly distributed between 2 strings. The next section I wanted to work on was what happens in measure 3 and in measure 17. In measure 3, we start with a low 2, and then we have to hop to a high 2 on the next string, and the same thing happens in measure 17. So in measure 3, I'm on the D string with a low 2, and then I need to hop to a high 2. So let's practice that hop again. Set your low 2, hop. Now all of this needs to happen pretty quickly when we're at tempo, so we're going to practice this just a little bit faster. 1, 2, ready, go. Hop. You want to avoid kind of smudging your finger across the string. You have to lift it up and reset it. Try that again. 1, 2, ready, go. The other thing that might happen is that your bow kind of gets a little bit antsy and precedes your second finger hopping to the lower string. And we get an open string sounding there. So make sure that you're stopping your bow on the old string, hopping, and then going to the new string. Try that again. Ready, go. Stop, hop. Now the same thing happens in 17. We're just on the A string. We have a low 2 on the A string, and we're hopping to a high 2 on the D string. So same idea here. Stop on the old string, hop, and then go. The next measure I want to work on is measure 19. Here we have a shift to second position, so we're going to practice that by outlining the shift. So I'm going to play the first 4 notes regularly, first position. Now while I'm playing that open D, I'm going to take my first finger on the A string and shift it a half step to C. So I'm going to sound that so you know what it sounds, what we should be hearing. Let's try that together. Ready? Go. And again, it's just a half step shift with your first finger. Try that one more time. Ready? Go. Now once we're in second position, I need to just reach for my 4th finger and then play a high 3. And I've already shifted to that 1. Next measure has still in second position. It's 2, 1. And then a half step shift back down to B. So let's try that whole sequence again, and I'll walk you through each step. So the beginning of 19, shift, 4, high 3, 1, 2, 1, half step shift backwards. Now obviously we can't sound the shift when we're playing this measure, actually playing this measure. So let's try to do that silently this time. We'll still do the same exact motion. We're taking our first finger and shifting to where second finger usually goes. We're just not sounding it this time. Ready? Go. Shift. Let's check. Did you get there? Try that again. It's a really close shift, and remember when we shift, it's with our forearm, not our wrist, and not our finger. You want the whole arm to move as a unit. Try that again. Ready? Go. Shift. Check. And if you're not quite sure what that C should sound like, you just played it, or you could use a tuner, or you could check with your open C string. So let's do that one more time. Silent shift. Ready? Go. Shift. Now plop that 4. Okay, let's try those 2 measures one more time, and we're not going to stop this time to execute the shift. Ready? Go. Shift. This is kind of a new thing, it's kind of a tricky shift, so now might be a good time to stop the video and just practice that a few times. The next thing I wanted to point out was that Bourree number 2 is in a different key. It changes to 3 flat, so watch out for that when that happens, B flat, E flat, and A flat. And I also wanted to talk about measure 39. There's a really long slur in that measure, so we have to prepare our bow ahead of time. So let's go to playing position. And I'm going to start in measure 37, and I'll play and I'll demonstrate what I mean when I get there. So 37 is... And then I'm going to work my way to the tip. Because we've got 1 note on the down bow and then 7 notes on the up bow. And if I'm not at the tip, whoops, I've still got 2 more notes there. I couldn't quite make it. So let's start together in 37, and just remember that the 4 notes before you get to 39, you have to kind of zigzag your way towards the tip. So 37 is ready, go. Zigzag to the tip. So hopefully you were able to zigzag that time, and really what that means for us is that our down bow is longer than our up bow. So if you want to think about it mathematically, the down bow should be twice as long as the up bow. So it's 2, 1, 2, 1, so that we get to the tip by the time we're at the downbeat of 39. Now once we've made it to the tip, we want to make sure that we're saving bow for that really long slur. I don't want to use my whole bow on the first 3 notes. Then it gets kind of yucky sounding there. So if you can imagine that your bow is split into 8 even parts, even though the first note is a down bow, I want to be at the middle after the first 3 notes so that I've got the rest of the bow, or the rest of the half of my bow, to use for the next 4 notes. So let's try that whole sequence again from 37. Ready? Go. Zigzag to the tip. Save. Middle. The final pointer I have is the form. Again, we want to take all of the repeats when we play through the first time. Whenever you see them, we will actually take the repeats or honor those repeats. And then when we get to the end, it says DC, da capo, or to the beginning. And then when we do it the second time through, we do no repeats. So now we're going to do our slow playthrough. I'll count 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and we'll begin. And remember, we're taking all repeats the first time through, but not on the DC. Let's go to playing position, do our checks, nice straight wrist, fingers on the tips, thumb curved, pinky curved. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. our slow playthrough, we're going to do our fast playthrough. I'll count 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and we'll begin. Do your checks. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. joining me today. I really hope you found this video useful. If you have questions, comments, or other videos you'd like me to make, please post those below. I really enjoy reading your comments. Happy practicing!